But our top story tonight, it started with Karnataka and it's now moved to the national capital where the state wants to police your and my food habits. That's right. Two municipal bodies of Delhi have asked the police to stop the sale of meat during the ongoing Navratra. The call comes close on the heels of a similar face-off in Karnataka where right-wing activists wanted the sale of halal meat restricted. All of this is coming at a time when there is also a clamour by right-wing groups to ban the use of loudspeaker for azan or the call for prayers among Muslims. All these controversies come at a time when the Muslim community is observing Ramzan, a month of prayer and fasting, even as Hindus are observing Navratra. Is the occasion then being used to simply divide communities rather than unite them? And should the state be policing our food in the first place? That's going to be the big talking point. But first, take a look at how this is playing out politically.
It's often said everything is political, even food. And the latest political blowout in the national capital has food as its flashpoint. The BJP-led South Delhi Municipal Corporation Mayor issued an order regarding the closure of meat shops in the national capital during the 9-day Navratri period. Mayor Mukesh Suryan wrote to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal urging him to issue orders to shut meat shops and liquor stores during the festival of Navratri till April 11.
99% दिल्ली में लहसुन प्याज यूज नहीं होता है नवरात्रों के दौरान। ये पाक महीना है, इसमें लोग रमजान भी है, इसमें नवरात्रे भी है, माँ दुर्गा के रूप भी हैं। तो हमने ये फैसला लिया है कि जब हम लहसुन प्याज नहीं खाते तो नवरात्रों के दौरान में दिल्ली के अंदर हमारी साउथ एमसीडी में कोई भी मीट शॉप पे काम नहीं होगा, कोई मीट शॉप नहीं खुलेगी।
The demand from the south was echoed by Mayor of the BJP-led East Delhi MCD.
हम लोग प्याज भी नहीं यूज करते, लहसुन भी यूज नहीं करते, तो मैं मानना है मीट को भी दुकानें बंद होनी चाहिए। इसीलिए मैंने सभी मीट विक्रेताओं से अपील की है कि वे इन दोनों अपनी दुकानें बंद रखें।
The BJP's full support of the demand was countered vociferously by the Congress, but there was silence from the Aam Aadmi Party.
मैं साउथ एमसीडी द्वारा इस उठाए गए कदम का पुरजोर स्वागत करता हूं और मैं चाहता हूं कि तीनों नगर निगम इसको लागू करें, पूरे दिल्ली एनसीआर और नहीं पूरा देश इसको लागू करे और हम कैसे एक दूसरे के धर्म के प्रति सम्मान रखते हैं ये पूरे दुनिया को सीख जानी चाहिए।
ऐसे निर्णय लेने से पहले सभी लोगों से बात करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। केवल एक पत्र इसलिए लिखना कि मीडिया उसको छापेगी, आपके बारे में लोग बात करेंगे, मुझे लगता है बहुत छोटी सोच है। मेयर साहब को दिल्ली की सफाई व्यवस्थाओं पर काम करना चाहिए, सफाई सैनिकों के रुके हुए वेतनों पर काम करना चाहिए।
Meat politics led to a social media storm, with many tweeting out how this was food apartheid. Priyanka Chaturvedi from the Shiv Sena tweeted out saying she was vegetarian but didn't want to impose her choice on others. Traders and shop owners appealed for a rethink.
अगर एसडीएम चाहती है मार्केट बंद हो तो होनी चाहिए क्योंकि सरकार है, सरकार के विरोध में हम कुछ नहीं कह सकते हैं और बल्कि हम तो हमेशा सरकार का समर्थन ही करते हैं।
ये बाकी एरिया दिल्ली में जो है वो नवरात्रों में नहीं आते हैं, सिर्फ एसडीएमसी के एरिया नवरात्रों में आएगा कि नहीं एसडीएमसी है और यहीं पर नवरात्रे है और बाकी एरिया में नहीं नवरात्रे।
हमें पहले इतला करनी चाहिए, 2-3 दिन पहले हमें बताना चाहिए कि हम स्टॉक नहीं रखते, हमारे पास स्टॉक होता है, हम उसको कैसे रिलीज करेंगे। और हम लोगों की यहाँ से होटल्स को सप्लाई होती है, कैटरर्स को सप्लाई होती है, हमारे सारे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खराब हो जाएंगे।
हर दुकान के साथ 10 से 20 बंदे जुड़े हुए हैं और इतना जो माल होता है हमारा स्टॉक, अगर आज हम दुकान बंद कर देंगे तो हमारा तो नुकसान क्या होगा, हमारी तो सेल नहीं जाएगी।
In the midst of all the politics, it's worth looking at the food map of the country. India as a whole is not primarily a vegetarian country, but has the highest number of vegetarians in the world. However, only 30% of India is vegetarian, with 70% non-vegetarian. India has been a country where our love for food has bound us beyond political and religious beliefs. Will putting a ban on food items, even if during festivals, help? That's some food for thought. Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's add to that sentiment of food for thought. Should the state police be banning or should the state be policing our food habits? Is this meat ban simply a device to create another Hindu-Muslim divide? Is it an attack on our individual rights, our freedom of choice? Questions that I will raise tonight. Yashovardhan Azad is a former senior IPS officer. Pawan Kheda is the Congress's spokesperson. Harish Khurana, BJP spokesperson. KB Dhananjay, senior lawyer joins me. Appreciate all of you joining us. Let's come straight to you, Harish Khurana, because it is your government, your municipal body, which is now calling for this meat ban in Delhi. You've tried to do that in Karnataka. You've now sent an order for Delhi. I mean, surely that's not the job of governments to police food habits. You've got so many other things that you should be focusing on. For God's sake, clean the garbage outside on the roads instead of focusing on what I should eat and what I should not eat. I may be non-vegetarian, you are vegetarian, we respect each other, and let's move on.
Rajdeep, first of all, BJP is nobody to do policing on anybody's food habits. The only thing what we are requesting the people of Delhi is keeping the sentiments in mind. 90% of the Hindus keeping the Navratra festival. We only urging if you are really interested in buying in having the non-vegetarian food, you can get it from the online. But the shops of the meat shops, which creates a foul smells, and near to the mandir and the gurudwaras should be requested to shut down. We are requesting them.
I've seen the letter. It's not a request. It's an order. Please understand. There is no request here. You are free to request people not to eat meat. That's your choice, or to close. You cannot. You are ordering people to shut shops.
Rajdeep, listen me out. I've just seen your package also. Shyam Sundar Agarwal has urged the meat shop buyers to not to open the shop. You just plate your. So
you're saying there's no order?
What I said, we have asked the people to shut down, requested them. If the people have already the problem of eating, they want to eat the non-vegetarian, get it from the online. Nobody's stopping them to eat or non-eating. Only thing is, if my shop, if I'm residing at a place where 100 or 50, 200 meters area, my mandir is there or gurudwara is there, and the foul smells comes into it's a matter of religion, faith.
It's a matter of religion, it's a matter of faith, it's a matter of sentiments. We are a plural society where your sentiments matter as much as mine. I don't know where you got this figure, first of all, that 90% of people observe Navratra. Our survey showed that 70% Indians across India are non-vegetarian.
Rajdeep, listen me out for 10 more seconds. And this is not for the first time. You belong to Bombay. You know, in Maharashtra in 2015, Jain festivals, during that Jain festivals, that meat was banned. In Chhattisgarh, my dear friend Pawan Khera's government is there in Chhattisgarh. They have also banned the meat in Chhattisgarh during the Jain festival. So this is not the first time. Why there is a hue and cry right now? We are just requesting the people not to buy from the shops nearby.
You're saying that close down you've had your say. You're saying close down your meat shops essentially during this festival. Remember, it's not just Navratra, it's also Ramzan. We are a multi-religious society. But Pawan Khera, you want to respond? Sentiments are important, and therefore the BJP believes that keeping these sentiments in mind, you should shut meat shops.
Look at the stark contradiction, Rajdeep. They invoke the example of the innocent pyaj and lasun. Are they banning pyaj and lasun also? And if they are not, then why just meat and why not pyaj lasun? उदाहरण तो आप प्याज लहसुन का दे रहे हो, बैन मीट कर रहे हो क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी पर आप टारगेट कर रहे हो. Now look at the inconsistency in the entire ideological construct of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. It's ridiculous. अखंड भारत, राजदीप, अगर अखंड भारत आ जाता है हिंदुस्तान तो कितने परसेंट मुस्लिम आबादी होगी? 45%. यहां 15% तो इनसे बर्दाश्त नहीं हो रहे, 45% को लेकर क्या करेंगे? Look at the stupidity of the argument. अखंड भारत करेंगे और यहां 15% नहीं बर्दाश्त हो रहे इनसे. So they are happy with 45% Muslims, but 15% से दुश्मनी पूरी है. क्यों है? तो पहले तो इनको कहिए अपने दिमाग को दुरुस्त करें. ये बिल्कुल बेवकूफ लोग ऐसी बात सोचते हैं कि कौन क्या खाएगा, कौन क्या पहनेगा, हलाल खाएगा या झटका. व्हाट नॉनसेंस. ये किस तरफ ले जा रहे हैं देश को? 63% ऑफ दिल्ली इज नॉन वेजिटेरियन. ये कहां लेकर छोड़ेंगे देश को? They don't want Rajdeep Sardesai, though Rajdeep Sardesai still discusses petrol, diesel, महंगाई, बेरोजगारी. But they don't want Rajdeep Sardesai, Pawan Khera, Yashovardhan ji to discuss. There should be no buzz, no chatter on these issues. Therefore, what will they do? They'll raise these stupid bogies of कौन क्या खाएगा, कौन क्या पहनेगा, हिजाब नहीं होना चाहिए, वो नहीं होना चाहिए. क्या कर रहे हो?
Can I just get a response? Because, you know, Mr. Khurana, there is something to be said in that last comment that Pawan Kheda made, that all of this is a distraction. We've just seen, we're seeing global inflation, we're seeing petrol prices up 13 times in the last 15 days. There is a serious crisis that remains of consumption, of demand, of creating jobs. As I said, garbage is the basic task of a municipal corporation. I want the garbage cleaned properly. I am not, frankly, live and let live. Jio or Jeene do, these are all distractions from the real issues of our time. Meat shop band karo is hardly the issue of our time, surely, Mr. Khurana. Let the Hindus celebrate Navratra, let Muslims celebrate Ramzan. That's India.
Rajdeep, coming to the logic of Pawan Kheda, he said 70% of the people are non-vegetarian. Same logic, around 50% of the Delhiites drink alcohol. Then on 23 days, why are dry days, including Diwali, including Eid? Why? Then I have a right to drink. I'll right to drink or eating food. Then I'll drink as many days. Why the government has kept dry days for 23 days? In the whole year.
No, but why suddenly have you all woken up to the idea? No, 1 minute. There are municipal corporation elections later this year in Delhi. There are Karnataka election next year. There are municipal elections in Mumbai. Suddenly there are calls for ban on Azan. Are these the real issues? Is Azan, halal meat the issues of our times? Or are you simply trying to distract and divert attention and polarize public? That's all you want to do. Hindu, Muslim.
BJP is not interested in doing Hindu Muslims. What Pawan Kheda party has done, they have issued an order. There should be no power cut in Rajasthan in Muslim areas. Who has done Hindu Muslims? What we have asked people of whether it's Hindu, whether it's Muslim, please don't buy a product from meat from the shop. Over here, Hindu Muslim has done by Pawan Kheda's party. This is Rajasthan government order. What they have written? They have written no power cuts in Muslim areas. Point to be noted. Muslim areas. Navratras is going on. Why not written whole Hindu and Muslim areas? Why not? Muslim areas?
You want to quickly respond to that, Pawan Kheda, because this has been doing the rounds on social media as well.
Yeah, they will always quote things out of context. There are instructions for Hindu areas also. There are instructions for Muslim areas also. Different departments have done different things. But no, they would love to polarize. आप पूछे ना इनसे कि क्यों नहीं लहसुन प्याज की दुकानें बंद करते. पूछिए अखंड भारत पे इनका स्टैंड पूछ लीजिए. I want today Mr. Harish Khurana to help Mr. Mohan Bhagwat and all his.
No cross talk.
Don't interrupt. आप मुझे अखंड भारत पे इनका पूछ के बताइए क्या अखंड भारत के ये चाहते हैं अखंड भारत हो? अगर है तो 45% मुसलमानों का क्या करेंगे? ये बर्दाश्त करेंगे उनको? 15 तो हो नहीं रहे इनसे बर्दाश्त. पूछिए ना. I want you to ask this question. Please, I request you, Rajdeep.
You want to answer it, Mr. Khurana, before I move on?
I asked a simple question from him.
No, forget it. हो गया. बात जवाब दे दिया.
Why forget it?
जवाब दे दिया.
You are not giving
अखंड भारत पे आप मुझे अपना स्टैंड बताइए. अखंड भारत पे आपका स्टैंड बताइए. अखंड भारत पे मुझे स्टैंड बताइए.
Producer, both of them, there is no answer that I'm getting on Akhand Bharat, and Pawan Kheda is claiming that these instructions issued for uninterrupted power supply extend to both Hindu and Muslim areas. We'll do a fact check, Mr. Kheda, on that, whether the Rajasthan government had done it only for Muslim areas or both. But I just want to get a policing and a legal perspective. Yashovardhan Azad, first from a policing perspective. You know, all these orders which are being passed now, the latest being the municipal corporation, the commissioner has written to the police saying, please enforce the order, shut down shops. Do you believe that this order is enforceable?
First of all, I am extremely happy to discuss meat, lasun and piyaj on your August channel. And this is the first time I've been discussing such a critical issue facing the country, as Mr. Khurana said. I think it's the most irrelevant, meaningless, and a trivial debate. And thank God you've given an opportunity to a common man also to speak on this subject. First of all, in Navratri, though I may remain a vegetarian, but I fully respect the rights of the people and their choice of eating. Secondly, there are many Hindus who don't observe Navratri. It's a fact. So why force something on people? Their choice is ultimately the most important thing. And lastly, does the police should get involved in this nonsense of closing meat shops and opening meat shops and lasan and piyaj? Doesn't police have a lot of other important things to do? Today, you have a chaotic situation on the streets, whether it's encroachment, whether it's law and order, whether it's traffic, there is complete mayhem in the city. You know, we talk about ease of business, ease of living is difficult in metros. There are so many issues facing a common man. And it's surprising that these ridiculous things are being brought. But one thing I'll definitely say, Rajdeep, is that as far as the azan on loudspeakers, I certainly think that loudspeakers should be banned. Loudspeakers should be banned in all religious places. There should be no religiosity, which should be permeating in public spaces. That is a nuisance. I, as SP, have seen the mandir ka ghantas and the loudspeakers from the mosque disturbing exams, disturbing peace, and disturbing communal tranquility.
Let me take that precise point to you, Mr. Dhananjay, because we've just seen Mr. Bomai, the Karnataka Chief Minister, claiming on this latest issue which has been raised in Karnataka about Azan, and that there should be some kind of restriction, claiming that these restrictions already exist. We are seeing it in Maharashtra now, where Hindu groups are claiming that if Azan is allowed, we will allow Hanuman Chalisa should also be allowed over a loudspeaker. What is the law on both, on the order on meat shops being banned, as well as what is the legal position on loudspeakers?
First of all, on the meat ban, so much was being said about meat eaters being able to get things online. You don't prohibit something and then say that people can't be inconvenienced because there are these other options through which they can secure what they would have otherwise got. That's not the law in this country, and that's not the law anywhere else in the world. Now, to understand how constitutionally valid these demand for ban on meat during Navratri is, we can actually extrapolate that principle and then talk about what happens to those who are practicing Ramzan and who are prohibited from consuming food during the daytime. And if, the letter or the request made by the BJP functionaries is taken to its logical end and looked at from the perspective of a Mussalman, it would then mean that eateries would, offend the religious beliefs of Mussalmans during Ramzan, and therefore the eateries will have to be shut down. So anybody who wants a ban on meat during Navratri will also have to recognize that if that principle must have some equality element in it, then Mussalmans should be able to ask for ban on all eateries during Ramzan. But however, Mussalmans are not given that privilege because the Constitution of India somehow is a Hindu-centric constitution. Now, the Constitution of India is not a Hindu-centric constitution at all. And this is not the Hindu equivalent of Pakistan. So long as we have the constitution that we have, it's fair to say that the demand in Delhi for ban on meat during Navratri is just not tenable at all. And the problem also in our country is that we're not engaging the courts in the manner that the constitution framers wanted us to engage the courts in. So you're saying it is prima facie unconstitutional to order such bans. It violates the principle of equality. What about loudspeakers? Yes, the loudspeaker aspect, the noise pollution regulation rules of 2000 is so very clear on that. The Karnataka government came out with a regulation just a few days ago, specifically targeting mosques. And that's illegal for the simple reason that if you have a problem with noise, then you must have a problem with loudspeakers over temples also. And temples in Bangalore will outnumber mosques by what? 10:1. Nobody is talking about loudspeakers over temples. And we all seem to think that it's all right because, well, what comes out of loudspeakers in temples is okay to a vast majority of people. So the fact that we have a problem with loudspeakers over mosques, but we don't have a problem with loudspeakers over temples makes this whole thing very suspect. And the government stepping into this act, and last week there was this thing about halal meat. Groups were going around the city and then saying things like halal meat revenue goes to fund terrorist organizations. And they were saying this on TV, they were saying this before the public. And nobody would be able to do this unless they have the real powerful backing of the government. And that's something to really worry about. I think we are I think we are degenerating, and it's time that we recognize it. And a lot of people might say that, okay, what's a big thing about it? We have the police force, we have the army, we can press them into service, and we can stop things when we want. But the history of our world tells us that we can't stop so many things when we have let them loose in the manner that we are letting them loose.
Can I just take what you're saying? Effectively, what you're saying is we need to respect the principle of equality. And therefore, Harish Khurana, we come to where we started off. We started off by saying that we need to recognize, as I said, live and let live. Celebrate Navratra, respecting the sentiments of Hindus. Celebrate Ramzan, respecting the sentiments of Muslims. And don't allow the state to decide who will eat what. It is for you. You don't want to go and eat meat during Navratra. You have every right not to do so. If I choose to do so and eat meat, it is my right to do so. Why is the state busybodying in these issues when there are umpteen issues, as Yashovardhan Azad said, which are far more important, where I want the state to focus upon? Let's focus on the real issues of our times. I want better drainage facilities. I want garbage disposal to be done more effectively. I want cleaner air. Focus on all that. Focus on the real issues that should matter to all of us.
See, Rajdeep, we are concentrating on all the issues. The only thing is, I don't want this to be a political issue. It's a matter of faith.
No, you have made it a political issue. If it has become a political issue because politicians are entering. Politicians should stay out of my kitchen. I don't want you to stay in my kitchen. Please stay out of my kitchen.
Hear me out. Same way, like it's a faith matter of banning liquor on serving on dry days. Why? What is the reason behind it? The reason is only on the religious faith. It is banned on Ramzan, Eid. It's banned on Diwali. It's a ban on Holi. Why? Because there is a faith in this. There's a religious faith. One of the factor in this. So if the banning of the liquor is on serving on dry days, the banning on these particular 8 days, 9 days can be justified. And we are not saying you cannot buy it. My only urge is you can buy online. Why
okay, buy online. Yes, Pawan Kheda, respond. Religious faith, it's coming down. It's coming down to religious faith. Now, I want to also say that there are many viewers who are sending me in Eastern India. We don't celebrate any of these Navratras. Our Navratras come before Diwali. So, different parts. This is a diverse country. But irrespective of that, yes, Pawan Kheda, respond.
Now, comparing dry days for liquor with banning meat is obnoxious. I mean, it's strange. Bhaiya, right to food तो हमने सुना है, right to drink आप ला रहे हैं तो बता दीजिए साहब. How can you compare कि लिकर के लिए ड्राई डेज होते हैं तो मीट के लिए भी होने चाहिए? राइट टू फूड कभी सुना है? राइट टू लाइफ सुना है, लेकिन राइट टू ड्रिंक तो हमने नहीं सुना. अब आप हरीश खुराना जी, हो सकता है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की 303 सीटें, हो सकता है राइट टू ड्रिंक भी ला रहे हैं, कोई भरोसा नहीं है आपका. So don't compare apples with oranges. Please, for God's sake, थोड़ा दिमाग लगाइए. और आपने राजस्थान का उदाहरण दिया, बैठे बैठे मैंने वहां भी मैसेज भेजा. Rajdeep, I'd like to bring this on record. Muslims gave a representation to a minister, our minister called Jahida Khan. She, obviously, if a minister gets the representation, she would write to the officers to make sure, please make sure that the supply is regular. So is it a crime if somebody comes to me with a representation belonging to a particular community and I will issue necessary instructions? Nothing wrong.
No, but she should ensure, she should ensure uninterrupted power supply to all communities. Power supply cannot be for specific neighborhoods.
If a particular community has made representation, obviously she'll forward that representation. If Rajdeep Sardesai had made that representation, obviously she would have also forwarded Rajdeep Sardesai's representation.
Okay.
So why do they try and look for fault lines where none exist?
You know, it's very interesting at the moment. Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, neighboring states, Mr. Khurana, also have BJP governments. Nobody there is calling for a ban of meat. It's only happening in Delhi. It only seems as if Navratras are holy in Delhi. They are not holy in other parts of NCR, not in Gurugram, not in Faridabad.
There's no interference of right to eat. Please understand that. Nobody has asked to stop eating the non-vegetarian in Navratra days. Please understand that. We are not requesting. We are only requesting that shops which is near to the mandir and the gurudwaras should shut down on those 8 days. And 3-4 days have already been passed.
Rajdeep, what about the economic boycott of Muslims? ये इनके षड्यंत्र तो देखिए आप. Economic boycott of Muslims, इस पे जवाब मंगवाइए. अखंड भारत पे जवाब मंगवाइए. क्यों नहीं अखंड भारत पे जवाब देते? राजस्थान का तो जवाब दे दिया
होता है तब आप चुप रहते हैं। जब 6 मिनट
अखंड भारत पे जवाब दीजिए।
लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होती है,
अखंड भारत पे स्टैंड क्या है आपका?
लोगों की दुकानें बंद रहती हैं, प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती कांग्रेस को।
अखंड भारत पे क्या आपका स्टैंड है? अखंड भारत पे आपका क्या स्टैंड है बताइए ना जरा। 45% मुसलमान आपको चाहिए इस देश में, तो बताइए ना अखंड भारत होना चाहिए।
Okay, can I for a moment just can I just get you sabka saath? How we do? 1 minute. It is not sabka saath if you don't allow people to decide what food they wish to eat. If Muslims want to go to halal certified shops, that's their choice. If I want to go to a shop which is non-halal, it is my choice. Live and let live. I come back to it, but Yashovardhan Azad, you made the point that it is not the job of the state to intervene in this issue. There are far more important issues. I want to clarify the reason I have made this a top discussion point is precisely that. My worry is that political parties are choosing now to politicize my kitchen as well. They are politicizing my relationships. They are politicizing the movies. They are politicizing every aspect of my life. What role do you believe the state should play? What can the police do in such situation? Does it have, or does it simply have to follow the orders, whether it's Karnataka government, Mumbai, or indeed Delhi?
It's a very important question. I think with religiosity entering the political space, it's become a very, very sensitive issue. And the police leadership has to look into it very, very seriously. Even if you look into the Karoli incident, which has taken place in Rajasthan, it is the failure of the police to take firm action right then. What is happening is the police is evading any proper action. In a case where you realize that there are accusations on both sides, look at what happened in Rajasthan. One side is accusing the party for appeasement. The other is accusing the other party of creating an environment. And therefore, the role of the police is critical in it to give a stable law and order situation. For any communal flare-up, there is no soft approach required. It has to be shoot to kill. But police is evading. Today, what is happening is the communal environment is becoming more and more fragile. Right. Who do you look up to? If you have the police taking firm and unbiased action, then it is possible. But as the Chief Justice of India said, there is a great demand now that the police should be autonomous and should be kept at a distance from the political executive.
That's another debate that we will have, a more urgent debate of our times, particularly when handling communal flare-ups of the kind that we saw earlier this week in Rajasthan, the role of the police and the state governments. For now, I appreciate all of you joining me.